Hey Donald, how you doing? How's is the sound okay? Let me move this up a little. Up here. There. Okay. Sound check, video check, everything check. Oh boy. Hey Joseph. Hey Joseph, you're the cameraman. You do all those great close-ups. I really like those. Hey Rancher, a beret check, huh? Oh good, good. I'm glad the sound's okay. The sometimes something goofy happens. Man, I tell you, it's we haven't had the heat on until now. Now it's on. Hi, Patrick. Evening. Well, it'll be evening soon enough. For us, it's still daylight. That's sort of a funny thing. Some guys, I guess, let me see, in it's 4 o'clock in the morning in Bangkok. I know that from my metropolitan. Hi, Junior. So it's really funny. It's I guess in Europe it's what about see in Paris it should be about 10 o'clock. Is that right? Anybody from Paris? Hey, how you doing there, Eric? Good to see you. Hi, Thomas. So anyway, it's sort of a kick. Hi, Giles. Antonio, how are you, Mr. Gumby? Good to see you. Everybody's saying good evening. It's somebody in Australia. It's early in the morning. 2200. Ah, okay. So that would be, boy, that's late. What is that about 10 o'clock? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you guys are right after this. Your wife is gonna tuck you in bed, and that'll call it a day. Hi, Hans. How are you? 9 o'clock in London. 10 o'clock in Paris. All right. 2100 in the UK. Okay. Hey, Hans. How are you? Um, well, I tell you one thing I know in New Jersey, it's 4 o'clock. So one of the few places they're still on. Hi, Hater. How are you? Hater from Holland. Okay. Hansi. Oh, 9:02 p.m. There you go, Hans. Now that's something I can easily read. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. Now, Mark's from out in California, which is they're 3 hours earlier than we are, so it's only about 1 o'clock out there right now. Hey, Homer. Okay. Um, this morning, as you guys know, what we were talking about was the looking for innovations. And what I wanted to talk about this afternoon were, what do you look for in a watch? I mean, it's just if you're looking at watches, uh, what is it that you say, okay, that watch has got what I want, and I want one of those. And I guess there are different ways to go about it. Mine is that there's a gizmo, and if I already have that gizmo, I'm interested in another gizmo of some sort. One that I'd really like to have would be a Remontois, but A, they're too expensive, and B, they're hard to come by. So those are so much for me and the getting a Remontois for now. But if I come across one, I think I'd like to have it. But other kinds of things that I do have that I wanted was like a regulator. Now the regulator I have, I got a neat regulator. It was $200. I got it from Hong Kong, and I still like that stupid regulator. But the regulator, for some reason, it's just not a watch I'd use too much. Now there's a regulator that Laurent Ferrier has, and there's another one by Patek Philippe, both of which I really like. Now those I probably might wear a little more, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Is that something is there that you like, and say, okay, well, I got one of those, and or maybe I got two of them, but I don't want another one. I want to get this instead. And some other kinds of things I've always looked for were things like retrogrades. I like retrogrades. I have a few, not too many, but I have some. And jumping hours. I think I have one jumping hour, and it actually two things jump at the same time, and a few other things. So I want to find out what you guys say. Hey, this is what I look for in a watch. So let's see what you got. Okay, you guys, let's see. Hawaii, hi Hawaii. Simple dial with a long power reserve. Okay, yeah, now that's something that uh, that I like. There's different ways of increasing your power reserve. One way is the double barrels and serial. Another way is my favorite way, of course, is having a 2.5 hertz movement to slow things down. What are some other ways to have it? Those are the main ways that I do look for if I'm interested in a long charge. What are some other things? Hi, Tim. Um, Forbin. Hi, Forbin. You're reminding me to look up the origin of regulator. Why call that feature by that word? A regulator, from my understanding of it, Forbin, was they used to have these clocks on the wall in where they were making watches. And the watchmakers, they felt by having each one in a separate dial, depending on what the watchmaker was working on, they could look at that. So if they're working on the second hand, they can, or go to town on the thing and look up and check it with the regulator on the wall, or time it with it, or something like that. That was my understanding of it. Clever mechanism. I also like outstanding finishing and classic aesthetics. Yeah. It's really funny. I do like finishing, really nice finishing. I've come to like something equally, in fact, even more perhaps, is really being able to see the movement. Now, generally, I like to see the movement from the back, and I like like you, I like a really classic. Unique is fine, but not goofy looking unique. Some watches I've seen are that way, but a really classy look. But then you turn it over in the back and you see this just you see this wonderful movement. My very favorite is my Langenheim with the trigonal bridge, and you can see everything just about. And that's something that I really like. If they have a this the kind of onglaze that is just you know always. I think the epitome of onglaze is Philippe Dufour. Is just there. It's just sort of a rounded kind rather than a sort of a straight line bevel on it. But yeah, that's another thing I like a lot. All right, let's see. Regulators as in Tombstone. Man, the regulators from Tombstone. Well, then that was a those are the old days. That's where, in fact, my great grandfather, my Swedish great grandfather was in Tombstone for a while, and that was where he went from Sweden. I think he was the only Swede back in Arizona Territory at the time. In fact, my grandmother was born in Arizona territory. I'm sorry. I got off. Okay, all right. What are some other things going on? Hi, John and Marita. Oh, but I know it's just John. And if Marita's there, hi. Okay, let's see what's going on. Paddock 5235 is a gorgeous regulator. Yeah. Yeah, that was Thomas. That was the one that they had, and then it went away, and then it came back again, I think. Now, of that regulator, I would like the one before they started putting silicone hairsprings in the thing, but I still like it. Regulator. Oh god, 7 a.m. Man, I tell you, I yeah, the V. Yeah, that's the one, Joseph. I really like that caliber 6. It's a really nice thing. Hi, Tony. How you doing? My great aunt told me a story of her grandfather shot someone to death in Arizona in the back back in the day. Yeah, that was the way they used to do it. Forget this coming down toward each other. They shoot them in the back when they weren't looking. That was how they settled things. No, I guess my great grandfather he kept his head down. He moved out of Tombstone, went to Bisbee, and then there was a flash flood out of nowhere there. Back in the day, yeah. Silicon hairspring equal garlic for Count Dracula. There you go. You know, when you see something, this is one thing that you have with Rolex. Rolex they have, they were one of the triumphant that went after the silicon hairspring. Patek Philippe, Rolex, and uh, Swatch. Okay, they developed the hairspring, and Rolex has one, but instead they decided to use their Parachrome hairspring, the blue Parachrome, which you know, that was a cool decision. I think they sort of went with, to me, what make this kind of watch collection really interesting. Silicone, got my Fitbit silicone. That thing is full of silicone. Assuming the movement is accessible, I fixate on the dial and its markers in the hands. Yeah, that's something I think that's really interesting is most of the watches, you have this analog way of telling time. And I like that. That works out well. In fact, most of my watches are that way. See on the watch. Yep. Just checking to make sure I got on my H Moser double hairspring. But that works for me. But I like different things. This is why I like the retrograde. Retrograde gives you another way of looking at it. Um, let's see. Parachrome behind solid case back might be silicon. No way to. Oh well, Mark. Yeah, we'll take their word for it. We'll take that in the oyster shell that none shall open. I like that, and they have gradual improvement, so nobody gets upset. that's that's wild. Uh, yeah, them goat herders versus the cattle barons. That's what the fights were about. Do you know what the H stands for in H Moser? Good question. I want to say Heinrich, but that's just helium. I don't know. I really don't know, but that's a good question. Have you seen The Rancher? Everybody has. Oh, let's see. Okay. Yeah, no, no. I don't know. Let's see who can find the H and H Moser first. Okay, that shouldn't take you guys very long. Um, and there was somebody who was not too long ago. who was at H. Moser, who was the great grandson or something of the original H. Moser. I think um, Moser. No, I don't. Trying to think where the first one was. Helmut. Is that what it was? Heinrich. It's Heinrich. Okay. H. Moser left Sturm on implant for teeth, and oh, that's right. Yeah, Tim brought something. They were really founded on a guy that was his implants. They made a fortune uh, with dental implants, and then they put a lot of them. They decided to put it into watches. Heinrich. Okay, Heinrich. That's it. Hans. Hans. It's not Oktoberfest yet. That's coming up pretty soon. Oh, okay, let's see, what are some other interesting things? One thing, this is an idiosyncrasy. I like the 736, the Jacquet 736 movements, and that's sort of a little sub collection I have. I've got 3 watches with that, and 2 of them I keep right here, and I have no idea why, but I always like them there, and I wind them up and look at them. One of them got seriously magnetized, and when I got that new demagnetizer, it's been working fine. Yeah, Forbin, you started it though. Okay. Oh wow, that's a lot. I didn't realize that. Who's going to the New York show? I am. Hey, yeah. By the way, that's a good question, Joseph. Uh, Definitely going. One of the things we have been in the past, sort of meeting up at Chopek. I forgot why. Uh, I think at one time, I think Mike Margolis still represents him. Mike used to represent both H. Moser and Chopek, and maybe another one. But now I think it's primarily Chopek. Um, Trying to think who else is who else is going? I hope I see Mike there. I'd like to see him. Mike doesn't live, 4 or 5 miles away from me. We have, we used to have coffee together, but after the pandemic, it just sort of threw everything off, and we don't see each other too much anymore. Hans, no, that's a good question. No, my wife hasn't got any new watches. Um, I almost got her one. There was a Daniel Roth that I really liked in New York, and it was a pretty good price. But then I found out it was court, so I that sort of you know didn't sound like much fun. You're not gonna be able to make it, Joseph. That's a shame. I think that um, the watch time show this year, to me, it's important because I think it's the first time. The last one they had was in 2019, and we had no idea then what was coming. Now it's like we all got to wear masks and all of this other stuff, but they got free booze, and mask won't get in my way. I was thinking of getting. I've got my the one that I have with my watch on it, my Van Cleef and Arpels RDC at Ur Dayer, the time here and time there. Uh, I'll have that mask on. No, John. No, 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 no. I just, why would I want to do that? What I like to do more than anything at these shows is see these guys, different guys, and we just talk about different stuff. And then every now and then we'll get into a conversation. You know, the someone will take a break and they're not, they're tired about, because they're sitting, standing there selling a watch, and having to tell people the same story about their watches and what they're going to do and so forth. And at the last one, we were hanging out, uh, Bruce and I and who was it? Andrew. We were, and we ended up talking, had a really good talk with Stephen Forsay. This is the kind of stuff that I really like. I like, going there and trying on watches and stuff. One year I interviewed a bunch of people, Kerry Wooten Lannon and Marco Lang and some other, and oh God, Murphy, the guy from Pennsylvania. And that was a lot of fun, but that's work. And so I'm there mainly for play. But that's, I maybe I'll try something like that. I tell you, um, what do you guys think would be a good things to ask them about? Uh, they're most of the really top watchmakers are going to be there. Uh, FP Jorn came to the last one, and it was very difficult for them to do it because I'd asked them before how come, because they have their boutique up on Madison Avenue, and I'd always ask them. I said, "How come you guys don't do that?" They said, "Well, we have to keep the store open. It's on Friday and Saturday and so forth, and so we have to have staff that." And they finally were able to do it, and it was really neat. But they're not doing it again this year, and probably it's even more problematic coming out of the pandemic. And the number of watches they have are probably near zero. A lot of places, that brand new shop that Vacheron Constantin put up in New York. I'd like to go see that. I think it's up around Park Avenue rather than sort of, most of them are on Madison or Fifth Avenue, but like Cellini's, but they have this great big, amazing looking store. So does Cartier. Cartier's store there is really something, but they moved it over by, I think it's over by that Big Apple store on Fifth Avenue. I mean, it just, but things have changed. This is something. One of our sons is there, and he was telling us that um, a lot of stuff has changed. He said just the styles are less formal. New York used to be a place that, it really, sharp dressers and everything like that. He said things have just gone a lot less formal. And I think that, somebody for the last year and a half have been home with Zooming at work, and now they come back and, they got to wear pants. So I, I think it's going to be informal, but at the same time, have a certain zest to it. I'm looking forward to it. I really don't know what's going to happen there, but I think something fun always happens there. Yeah, Mark. Yeah, it's a lot of things. One thing, I would hate to get on an airplane. I just I mean, it's hard enough now. People are, see, they're just flying right now. I just don't want to. Used to be a ball. I used to fly all over the place. Really had a lot of fun as a passenger. But boy, these days it's like a trial, trial by patience. And I just not interested. And then people, I don't want to get on a plane with a bunch of cranky people. That's like, hold out hope. All is good, March or so. We meet up in Switzerland to pick up a watch. That's what I want to do. That is very much something I want to do. And yeah, that is definitely something that I'd like to do, is go to Switzerland. Hi, Nico. How's things in Italy? Who's cranky? I don't know. Oh, you see these. I don't know. Maybe that's just the news. Of course, if everything goes fine, everybody's sitting there behaving themselves. But man, you see all these fist fights and the bam, and the people. I don't want to do this, or what is this? There was, there's always, it's not brand new that people haven't done crazy things on airplane, trying to, get membership to the Mile High Club, or, you name it. There's all kinds of weird stuff that people have always done on planes, but not that often. But now I don't know. We'll see. I think that the great thing to ask them would be whether they are going to convert to silicon technology or not. Oh, that is a good question, Thomas. That's an excellent question. I know that FP Jorn had visited the what's called the it's called the Firehouse in San Francisco, where they were making silicon movements. But whether I mean not movements, but springs. I don't know if he's going to do that or not. I hope not. Uh, Roger Smith came out with probably the most succinct and I think insightful thing about silicon hairsprings and something to the effect that we got watches that are 300 years old and they work just fine with brass and other kinds of metals that they used in watches. I Whether silicon would be brittle and fall apart, I don't know, but it's a metalloid, and I like traditional metals, and that's you know it's like I suppose if you're really a freak about accuracy, and I used to just be nuts about accuracy. Then it becomes important. I had one of the first Accutrons when they came out because I knew that was going to be really accurate. Um, I don't know. If any of you ever read a book that was done years ago called "The Soul of a New Machine," and it was about how they developed one of the classic microprocessors. At the end of the book, the guy said that he was, because they were used working with nanoseconds and so forth. He said he's going to the only time the unit of time that he's going to use are seasons. And I'm sort of like, yeah, close enough. Uh, yeah, John, the you think I some of the watchmakers maybe, but I think a lot of the watches, like you say, the ones that are selling for two, three, or four times of their MSRP, that's not going to the manufacturer. That's going to, someone who's sort of cornered the market in them and then jacks up the price. You could have bought a brand new Chronomet Blue for around 22,000. Now they're for sale for 100,000. Unbelievable. That's just nuts. And I think the reason that I don't think it can sustain it that high of a price is because there aren't that many people with that much money. I mean, they're not that many people with are going to decide to plop down $20,000 um, on a watch. Of course, we're all passengers on a ship of fools. We'll do it, but forget the mortgage and everything else. Yeah, no, no, I think we're in a very interesting time right now, and I I I think I think that there are enough watchmakers, the independents, the AHCI kind of watchmakers. They only make watches, I think, because to them it's almost it's an artful skill. That's the way to put it. It's not and it's artful design, and that I understand. I mean, you wanna create something that's really great, as opposed to seeing how many you can knock out and how many shortcuts you can take. And that's another thing that I look for is something innovative, something really different in a watch that solves a problem. The Agon pit, for example, for uh, your balance regulator, and some other things like that that you find, and they're fantastic. They don't use silicon. They don't have to use silicon. They use the creativity. One of the simplest things in the world retrospectively, if you take a look at the retrogrades, and there's certain ways to do it that are very, very simple. Same with uh, Oaks Jr.'s 9-part perpetual calendar. Things like that, that really, those kinds of things, the ingenuity, I think, I love to see ingenuity in a watch, or something clever. That's why my time here and time there I like a lot. Okay, I'm getting a word. What fish you look for to watch in my collection? Topic of a stream. I go straight for the aesthetics, case shape, dial color, hands, and so forth. Yeah, I think those things are important to me. You know, I love the movement though. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I like the I really like the comments that you had. This is really good. Take care. Still be safe, and we'll see you later.